And we are here tonight. I'm not going to lie, Andrew. I've been really looking forward to this review for the last couple of weeks, just because this is, this is our first ever Super Strong Style 16, and that is exactly what we're here to cover tonight. We are here to cover Progress Wrestling's Chapter 180, Super Strong Style 16, a 2-day tournament that also had championship matches. I'm so excited. Like, I've been smiling ear to ear all day. I cannot wait to discuss this. But Andrew, how are you this evening? And what is your hype level?
I mean, the shows were all right. No, this was awesome shows. This was an amazing collection. I mean, this was top tier. This was up there with any other promotions, big nights of events. It was super good. I'm excited to talk about it. There were some matches that were just some really good promos as well. 2 really solid, really great championship matches. And amongst all of that and this huge tournament, some really good storylines set up as well, too. So.
Right? I'm just like, man, who knew that a 2-day tournament could set up some really fun stuff? And Progress just keeps going with it, too, because we'll talk about it at the very end. But they already let us know that we got a match confirmed for Far From Ordinary People. And then we also have a match for Stay Humble later in the summer, too, which makes me excited. But if you are new here, welcome. This is myself and Andrew here to bring you British wrestling here at the BC Wrestle Pod. If you like what you see here, and even if you don't, that's okay. We take all comments of all kinds because we don't discriminate here at BC Wrestle Pod. But if the reviews are not up to your speed on the YouTube and Twitch, you can also check out our bite-sized clips that give us the fun, the cries, the laughter, the questionable things that we say here on the internet, as well as all the report cards. And I'm not going to lie, Andrew, it's really nice to not have to do like 50 report cards in the span of like 3 days.
Yeah.
That was crazy. And then, May is not any better because all the promotions are like, let's throw all the pay-per-views we can, especially over Memorial Day weekend. And I'm like, well, time to strap in because it's about to get crazy. But without further ado, let's just jump into it. So I feel like we're going to start things off with a good learning lesson. So I'm wearing my glasses. So Professor Mikey is in the house. This was a learning. So as soon as I heard that this was going to be Super Strong Style 16, I had to do a little bit of research, write my thesis, defend my, dissertation, if you will, of what this tournament is, why it's important, and, why is it a lot of fun. So the Super Strong Style 16 tournament is a Progress staple where every year we get 16 wrestlers competing in this tournament. And we've had tournaments in other promotions and things like that, but I feel like this is like, I don't want to say official because official's not the word, but this felt like a proper tournament when it comes to wrestling. And so it was a lot of fun to see this. And of course, we had single elimination. We had 8-on-8, which I'm like, take notes of the promotion. It's okay to put 16 wrestlers in a bracket. Like, it's not that hard. I digress. But we whittled it down, and the winner ends up, winning Super Strong Style 16 and is poised to be challenging for a championship in the near future. Maybe. We'll see. We'll talk about that with our winner because I'm not going to lie, Andrew might disagree with me, but our finals of the Super Strong Style this year may or may not have ended up on matches that I need to review for Match of the Year. But we'll talk about it when we get a little bit later. We got lots of things to talk about, so let's just jump into it because we start with opening matches. We are going to start with day 1, which took place Sunday, May 4th at 3 p.m. London time, 7 a.m. for me in Southern California. And I actually woke up early to watch day 1 live. I'm a mad lad. But this was our tournament bracket. It was really fun to watch the preview video days before to figure out, who was pairing up with who. And we talked a little bit about this, Andrew. I was like, we're probably going to see some upset first round eliminations. And, for the most part, we kind of did, but I wasn't upset. Question mark? Because of what came afterwards. But let's just jump into it. So we kick things off with our first match and what is being touted as the most personal animosity match between 2 competitors because these 2 have been fighting nonstop for the last couple of months last year. But in our first 8th final, which is the official title before we get into quarterfinals. So our first 8th final match saw Ethan Allen taking on man like Reese, not coming out into his normal shtick that we see him in. I mean, he still raps kind of, but for this one, he didn't really do it. And the bell didn't even ring. These two, as soon as they got into the ring, they just went at it. I was like, all right, we're off to a great start. Andrew, what did you think of this match? And Derice picking up a win over Ethan Allen, which kind of shocked me, not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, this match was good. It was fun. I will say, I think looking back over it, this was one of my lower ranked matches of the night, and that's only because of things just got better. Like, it was just that good that like not everything could be the match of the night, and maybe going back and watching it, this match would have ranked higher than where I ranked it because there's a recency bias to watching these things. But yeah, this match was fun. It was a really good match to open it up. I wasn't sure who was going to come out on this. I thought Ethan Allen might come out victorious by, shenanigans. Man Knight Derice looked good. I liked the new hair color. I know I've talked about it before. I'll probably get some hate about it, but, I liked the not coming out and rapping to his. I liked the more serious business man. I like to see a bit more of that. I know that's part of what makes him fun. But I liked not only how he came out to the ring with that energy, but the energy continued through the match. And I felt like that was a good focus to see from a man like Derice going into this tournament.
It absolutely was. And once it's picked up the victory over Ethan Allen, I'm like, nah, Progress for sure isn't going to give me kind of like somewhat of a dream match down the line in the finals. More on that when we get to day 2. But I do agree with you. I feel this match was a lot of fun. Looking at all the other matches that would happen later in this 8th final round, as well as what we would get for the quarters of the semis, this had to go somewhere, and this was still a lot of fun for me, which is saying a lot because there's pretty much almost every single match on this card was fantastic, and I loved it. But we move on to our second match in the 8th round match, which saw, the Spanish superstar Zazaya taking on Local Boy and one of our personal favorites in Progress Wrestling, Lycos 2. I'm not going to lie. I had a recency bias and I was like, surely the Lycos boys are going to collide in some capacity. I was wrong. I was so wrong. Before we get into the outcome of this match, I have to say, I am very new to Mr. Zazaya here. And dare I say, I'm now a fan of his. I really like his style. He's very goofy, but he's a tall high flyer, which is a very rare combination. Even in Lucha Libre, it's very rare to see tall individuals flying around themselves. He mixes strong style Lucha Libre is what I'm calling it as the hybrid, because he does, moves like a luchador, but he encompasses and he puts in that strong style and catch style of wrestling for British. Didn't know if it was a work or not with his shoulder injury going into all of this. I was like, this man is working with a brace. That is also very new for me to see when it comes to wrestling.
It was an awesome match. This was a phenomenal match between high flyers. It was fun to see more Zazaya. We'd seen him previously make his Progress debut, I believe, as one half of a tag team. And so getting to see him in there a little more active. I know Lycos 2 is not a very big guy, but, seeing him in this, he just had such a large stature. And even in his second match, he's got some good size on him. He makes me think of folks like Leon Slater, Javon Evans, guys who are pretty young and they've got that high flying skill, but you can tell they're in that like early 20s, mid 20s where they're still packing on some weight because, he's got a pretty big frame, especially his shoulders. So, he like you said, he's pretty bulky for a high flyer. It was great to see him like keeping up with Lycos 2. Lycos 2 also kind of pushing through that and obviously being used to being the smaller guy anyway. But I thought this was a really excellent match. And I too was surprised that Zazaya picked up the win. I thought for sure Lycos 2 was going to get this one and wouldn't have been surprised if we would have seen Lycos 2 versus Kid Lycos at some point just to give us that matchup. But all in all, it was good. It was fun. I liked these kind of outcomes because it kept me guessing throughout most of the tournament. And I thought this was an excellent match.
Absolutely. And again, we were easing ourselves in. I think Progress did a really smart job of how they ordered these matches too, because it felt eased in. Once we get into a certain match here in a little bit, I feel like, the energy definitely starts picking up for day 1. But Zazaya moves on to the next round, and he has to wait to see who he's going to face. But right now, let's talk about the big boys here. We got Simon Miller, the internet's darling. We love him here at BC Wrestle Pod, taking on a now single stars Charlie Sterling And of course, the Smoking Aces broke up as a tag team with, the retirement of Charlie's tag team partner. Poor Simon doesn't even get a chance to get far because Charlie's like, all right. Charlie is so funny to me. I love him. I think he's a really good wrestler, but he also blurs that line of being a complete turd heel, but also having some really funny moments. Like he kept slapping Simon Miller's bald head in the middle of this match too, which was really, really funny. I'm going to be completely honest. As much as I love Simon Miller, Andrew, I already knew when I saw this, I was like, I don't think Simon's going to make it past very far into this, unfortunately. But hey, you know what? Simon put up a heck of a fight, but unfortunately, Charlie Sterling is just too good with the graps, as the kids say, and does pick up the victory over Simon. So, Andrew, what did you think of our newly single tag team wrestler, Charlie, taking on the internet darling, Simon Miller?
I mean, I was kind of bummed. Before we saw the matchups, I had kind of hoped that Simon would at least get one victory in the tournament. But when I saw him matching up against Travis Sterling, I didn't think that was likely. I don't know if it was, but this match felt a little shorter than some of the other matches. And maybe it was because there was a lot of time of Charlie just like beating on Simon. But it was still good. It was still fun seeing two Hosses. We had a few Hoss matches in this tournament, which was fun and entertaining. This was, a good one. It kind of set up the story of how Charlie was going to try and get through this tournament through hook or by crook. Like I said, it was a bummer to see Simon lose, but I'm interested to see also where Charlie goes after this tournament and continues on his singles career.
And you know what, Simon? We love you, but also we know we don't have to wait long to see you again because you're gonna be all over the place in a little bit, especially for those of us that watch Evil Uno's Mystery Wrestling. He will be popping up in the show. I cannot wait. He's going to be wrestling at Mystery Wrestling. It's going to be fun. But Charlie Sterling makes it to the next round. Simon, we are not done with you because we will see you in day 2, and we'll talk about you when we get there because that was a hoot and a half. Will Cruz, I did not knew this was your wrestling game. Listen, I'm biased. Me and you love Marcus. Like, we love Marcus Mathers to death. And you know what? He did a really hit Marcus Mather things. But honestly, for me, Will Cruz, I am now a big fan of yours. I really liked his showing against Marcus in this match, in this 4th match of the tournament. I was like, now that he's broken away from the Gene Money family, and now he's on his own, Will, brava. This was a really fun match. Andrew, what did you think?
Again, I thought this was a really good match. It's funny to see Marcus Mathers here because he feels like he's like the foreign exchange dude. Like he just stands out because I'm like, no, wait, you don't belong here. You're GCW. What are you doing? Like,
Mean Girls, go here.
Yeah, but it's funny also to watch him, especially when we see him on night 2. Like, even when he's not being rooted for, he plays into that energy that the Electric Ballroom has, and like that's just so incredible to like watch it happen there. But this match itself was really fun. Even though I've only seen a limited amount of Will Cruz, especially in progress, I follow him on social media. And so I've seen him doing a lot of like wrestling training and like, showing off moves or trying out new moves and doing that kind of stuff. And so I've seen what he's capable of. So having seen that, and when he joined up with Gene Money and Session of Martinez, I was really hoping he would get out of that like lackey role because I've seen what he's capable of. And so I was really happy when he did. And I'm really happy now. This match was phenomenal. It was so much fun for a big guy. He moves so well. He's another one like Charlie Sterling. I'm just super excited to see what he's going to do next. I'm hoping he goes after something like the Atlas title or something where he can like get a chance to make a run at like one of their other titles to kind of start building up that status in progress.
Oh, absolutely. Will, we're going to talk about you a little bit later in your semifinal match but yes, Will Cruz beats Marcus Mathers, moving on to the semifinal. This was another fun match. When I tell you, this was the match. This was one of the matches I was looking forward to a lot, and it blew my it met my expectations and then blew it out the water too. Kid Lycos, you are amazing, but Michael Oku, if you keep delivering bangers like this, I think you may end up being my favorite wrestler. This man is everywhere. I get to see him this Saturday at Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, and what I'm hoping is going to be my match of the year. Not even gonna lie. Him, Bailey, and Gabe Kidd. Somebody gonna die is gonna be great. But now we play Michael Oku versus, Kid Lycos. I have no words. I was entertained. This is where the energy started to pick up for me. I'm like, oh my God. And we're not even done with the rest of these semifinals. What else are we about to see? And again, to my surprise, I thought, okay, Kid Lycos 2, he's out. But surely, Kid Lycos, the quote unquote leader of Lycos Gym is going to make it. Michael Oku, once again, surprised me. He beats Kid Lycos here to move on to the next round. I'm just like, Michael, you are amazing. Andrew, thoughts?
I just have 4 words. Match of the night.
Masterpiece. We move on. There's nothing. Seriously, there's nothing else to say. This was just so damn good. And all my BC WrestlePod hosts who, are thinking about towing the line of progress, if you want to get a match to see what progress has to offer, please watch this one. Honestly, watch the whole entire Super Strong Style 16 because it offers a little bit of everything. But this was one of the highlights of day one, not night one, day one for me. No notes. Great. So initially, okay, so this one's a little sad, but I will say I was very pleased with how the match went. I was like, you know what? This ain't that bad. So we were supposed to get Trent Seven versus the cheeky bastard himself, Charles Crowley. Unfortunately, Charles Crowley comes out in just his jeans, no shoes, just shirtless. I was just like, hey. Anywho, but unfortunately, he informed us that he was not cleared in time to participate in the tournament, so he has to withdraw. And I was like, I really wanted to see him fight Trent Seven, but he is given the time to cut a promo, and he's coming after Paul Walter Hauser and the Brodius Championship. I'm like, okay, that's a feud I can actually get behind too. Just the sheer shenanigans those two would pull. And then when we get to day 2, because there's another person who wants to get that title back. So, oh man, it's going to be crazy. But Charles Crowley cuts his promo. We get Trent effing Seven, which I love seeing Trent more and more back now. I was like, I've missed you, Daddy Trent. And replacing Charles Crowley in this match is Gene Money. Not gonna lie, I was kind of a little bummed. I was like, man, well, we'll see. Gene Money, I have to eat crow on this one. You are really solid in this. When we're not dealing with all the crazy shenanigans with the Gene Money family around and everything, he is a very solid wrestler who also has some really impeccable comedic timing when he wrestles too. He toes the line very well between the serious British wrestler while also...
I liked that they gave him a chance to come out and cut a promo instead of just being like, okay, he's not going to be here, so we're just going to replace him and not have him on the show at all. He cut an excellent promo. I've really been enjoying Charles Crowley since I first really got to see him wrestle a few months ago, or a few episodes ago. And I've been wanting to see more and more of him every time I see him, which is a great response to have about a wrestler. I was bummed that he wasn't in it. I'm excited to see him go after that Proteus title. I think having all these people call out these other titles is always nice to see. Other titles held up as valuable, not just like the world title. The replacement match, I too was very surprised to see Gene Money, but I also was very, very pleased with the match and the way that it came out because I thought it was a phenomenal match. Gene Money is just one of those heel wrestlers that is, he's not the, he's not the super villain-esque, heel wrestlers where he's intimidating and scary and serious and all these kind of things. He's kind of the cowardly kind of, he'll sneak a win out any way he can. But that being said, he's also excellent at wrestle, and I think that's kind of one of those things where it's like, you have to be that good in order to really sell that kind of a character. And you did a great job. Trent Seven, I thought, was a great foil for this. I feel like it was a good choice too, because Crowley has kind of a strange style as well. So Gene Money was gave us a similar feel, just a different flavor. But I thought this was a phenomenal match. I too love seeing Trent Seven in action more and more. Got to enjoy him for a little while at TNA. So, I'm happy to see him now that he's come back over to Progress. And it was super fun. And Gene Money's chest looked like a hamburger by the end of this.
Him and his pasties too, man. Ridiculous. I loved it. It's so funny. Feel like, well, I was like, cabaret. Anyways, we won't get demonetized here because we move on. Masa Kitamiya. I'm not going to lie. This was my biggest shot because, usually we have seen Tate go up against the odds. I did not expect Tate to be first round out, not gonna lie, but Masa Kitamiya, homeboy, woo, that's your wrestling, that's your Noah Strong style right there. This is a big boy, and I'm like, you are giving me younger Ishii, and I'm here for it, honestly. I was like, this is Noah's version of the Stone Pitbull, and I love this. Tate, also, I gotta give you flowers. You sold getting dropped on your head a couple of times. My favorite thing, though, about this match is that the way that Kitamiya ended the match, just all of a sudden, just bam, knockout. And I'm like, oh my God. Tate did not stand a chance in this match. Andrew, what did you think? Holy crap.
I will say this match and the next match were probably my two runners up for match of the night. I was not sure what to expect from this. I'd seen Tate Mayfair's, wasn't super familiar with Masa Kitamiya. After this, I just want to see more of Masa it was so entertaining. He's got kind of that Big E energy. He's a thick guy, but he moves really well, super athletic. You could just see the density in him. And it was a great back and forth match. I mean, this lived up to the Strong Style tournament name. I was very, very surprised that Tate lost this match. I assume, especially because of how prominent Tate's been in the booking lately. I was very surprised that he lost, but it was a phenomenal match. I love the way he came back, that Masa hit that Saito and picked up the victory that way. It was good. It was fun.
I really did too. And I was just like, as if I already don't have too many promotions to watch. Now I got to see if I got to check out Noah, because I was B2. So it's crazy how much Noah is now getting prominence. I mean, Masa's here. We're going to talk about Jack Morris next match. And then in NXT, we have Yoshiki Inamura, who just finished up and is heading back to Japan too. I'm just like, and then of course, not gonna lie, even though it's me and Will right now just watching Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, Mia of Noah, that is Noah's golden boy taking on Sheldon Jean at the last MLP pay-per-view. I was like, oh my God. That match made my top 10 too. So I was like, Lord, that was so good. But speaking of Noah, we're not done talking about them yet, because this is the final semifinal or eighth final match. Wrestling Pro Noah's Jack Morris taking on the youngest in charge, Leon Slater. When you talk about speed, baby, this was speed and I loved it. Jack Morris, you are awesome. I have become a fan of you too, but I'm not going to lie. Andrew, you know my bias. I love me some Leon Slater.
And yeah, I want to see more of Leon Slater. He's another one of those. There's a lot of these young up and comers that I'm really excited to see where they're going to be in 10 years.
Fun fact, I took Mama Laguilla to Rebellion with me, and because it's related, because we're talking about Leon Slater. She loves Leon now too. I was like, yes, join the cult of Leon Slater. She also is now a fan of Mike Santana. I was just like, so are all of we here at BC Wrestle Pod, but I digress. Man, this was so much fun. This was very speed-based between these two. Lots of trying to quick pins, quick roll-ups, things like that. This was a lot of fun. And I think that's what I'm going to be repeating as we continue talking about Super Strong Style 16. Even though I was surprised by some of our folks getting eliminated early on in these first round matches, I had such a blast the entire way through. But this definitely was also at the top of my list. But Andrew, let's talk about what main evented on day one, because we have a Women's Progress Championship match where not only we have a special guest referee, but if Rio loses, she will have to leave Progress. So I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm not going to lie. I was like, there were parts of this match I was like, oh my God, I think Rio might actually be leaving. But first and foremost, we find out after Rio and Nina Samuels get into the ring, we find out that our special guest referee is Kanji, which is very funny. Kanji, which is very funny because we talked about this during the Vegas review too. I was just like, I need to see her back in Progress. And sure enough, she popped up out on my screen as special guest referee. I'm like, my mind of watching too much wrestling has been trained. I was like, this is going to go up either two ways. Either she gonna actually call it down the middle while getting mad because, being a wrestler as a referee, you can never win in that situation, or we gonna see somebody get screwed over. And I was like, Rio's about to get screwed over. Maybe, possibly. I don't think so, because Kanji is a face, but who knows? Nina, I would like to offer you my sincerest apologies because I have said some not so fun things about your presentation of the character. I need this Nina Samuels from now on, please. This is what I wanted to see. She still was being the, chicken shit heel, so to speak, in this match, trying to be underhanded and also running away from, getting her butt thrown across the ring from Rio. But this is what I wanted to see. And I did do it a little bit thinking, because I was like, of course, during the ad breaks and in between the matches, they would be like, check out these like crazy feuds that happen, like Spike Trivet and Cara Noir, all that stuff. So I dug a little deeper and I took a look into the Alexis Falcon and Nina Samuel saga. I want that Nina. That girl death match is crazy. But Nina, I give you my apologies. I eat crow on this one. This is what I want to see from you from here on out, because this is what I've been asking for. So thank you. Also, Rio, you was the baddest bitch in this game, and I love you too. I was yelling at my screen because there were so many near falls and near pins. I was just like, at one point, Kanji gets tired of everything. She leaves because Nina wants the actual ref, and kicks him in the face for his troubles and takes his shirt, which was funny. But Andrew, the moment that we figured out, I was like, oh no, what is about to happen? Rio, not once, but twice, hits her finisher. Your winner and new Progress Women's Champion, Rio. So it seems like she's not heading to the States, to the Fed quite yet, at least. But man, this was such a fun main event. And this is, not only was I happy because I didn't want to see Rio leave, because I wanted her to stay here for a little bit longer, but also this also gave me what I needed from Nina as well. Andrew, what did you think of our main event?
I thought they worked phenomenal together. This was kind of a great, hero versus villain matchup here. And I thought we really got to see Nina Samuel's strengths while also seeing her play that, that underhanded heel. I was right there with you. I was just waiting for Kanji to turn on Rio. There were a couple of times that things happened that I was like, oh, this is it. This is where she's going to lose and she's going to leave Progress. And then she did manage to come out of it. It was phenomenal. The match itself was so good, so entertaining, so back and forth, really showing their skills. I'm interested to see what we're going to get now, especially because of what we got, the announcement we got on night 2, but the announcement we got at the end of this night gives me such excitement for next year, at post title, what's all going to happen with everybody. So I'm here for it. Give me more.
So this was fun. Of course, we couldn't end the show though, because I do want to talk about what really closed this out, which made me drop explicitives at like 9 o'clock in the morning. But the crowd is celebrating with Rio around the ring, as we do. Rio gets on the mic. She talks about that she ain't going anywhere yet. Kanji's also joining her in the ring. They're super excited. Rio says, and I love this part. Rio says that, the front office is a Progress Wrestling. They hear what you guys are saying. And in fact, they are truly listening to y'all, because I am happy to report, as a fan of Progress now, Rio announces that in 2026, we are getting a women's super strong style 16 tournament next year. And we're about to get demonetized, but I literally screamed, fuck yes. Listen, it is no secret that all of us, not just me here at BC WrestlePod, love women's wrestling across the world, both in the States and in the international scene. And we always tout that the women's wrestling matches tend to always be the best things of pay-per-views and weekly shows, because the women just bring it all the time. But the fact that the possibility of having a women's super strong style 16, watching like a bunch of women from around the British wrestling scene and the world, makes me super excited, because now I'm like running through my list of heads. Like, of course, I want to see, if she's not champion and gone yet, Rio, Kanji, Nina can be in here, Alexis Falcon, who we got to see a little bit when we started Progress. But then I'm thinking of all the other people. Like, can you imagine Danny Luna running through this tournament? Like that, so good. Like, that was a really fun way to end the show, and it gets me hype already. Looking forward to 2026. Andrew, what did you think of Rio's announcement? Women's Super Strong Style 16 tournament in 2026.
I'm super excited about it. Made me super happy, because they definitely deserve it. Like you said, there's so many women in Progress, as well as women in the European scene, in the Japan scene, women in Defy that we've seen Rio, have some matches with, especially during the collective. But she's popped up over in Defy too and face off some there. There's women in places like CMLL and AAA. There's a lot of women wrestlers around the world that could just have a phenomenal showing in a tournament like this. And so I'm excited to see what we're going to get to see. And while it makes it hard on us as people who follow a lot more of the independent wrestling, because there's so much crossover and so much cross-pollination, which is phenomenal. I love it. I love getting to see them wrestle so much. But also, yes, it makes it very hard, because I'm like, oh, this person. Okay, what's this federation? Oh, who's this person? I want to go watch that promotion. Like, and
Literally, it's just like that is the curse of us wrestling fans, and for what we do here at BC Wrestle Pod is it's like we know that we shouldn't be taking on more, but are we going to listen to the reason and logic? No, because wrestling is. Look. I might be saying this because I'm a man of a certain age and of a certain generation of wrestling fan. Listen, I suffered through the 2010s Federation of WWE, okay? And everybody can agree that was some dark ages for us as wrestling fans. But now in 2025, I feel like now 2025 is such prime choice to be a wrestling fan of pretty much anything and everything. From your major federations to the smaller US-based independents to the international brands too. And like you said, the cross-pollination progress and Defy have a working relationship. We also have CMLL and Rev Pro as well as New Japan. Like Noah's popping up. Marigold is killing it right now too. Stardom is truly in a new era, with the retirement of Tom Nakano and Mayu Iwatani moving to Marigold. Like we are truly in a changing landscape for wrestling, and I am super excited. And this was just day one of this tournament, man. I was just like, this was a great show. Wait, what do you mean we still have a day two? So let's just jump into it. So now we get into day two. So, of course, I had to watch this in spurts because, me and Andrew be working out here during the week. But we are going to kick things off because we also had some really, really phenomenal matches as well for this one. And, we do kick things off with our first quarter final match, which was a really fun way to start. Of course, we're going to be looking at this bracket because we didn't get separate graphics, but we start with our first quarterfinal match. It's Leon Slater versus Zazaya. And I was just like, all right, let's see what you two boys do. And I was entertained. I want them to run this back. This was so good. Oh, man, this was a lot of fun. Zazaya, I hope we get to see you more in progress a little bit. And hopefully you can start popping up in other places, too. I am entertained by you. I think you are fantastic. And Leon moves on to the semifinals, which is crazy. So after that match, I didn't know how this was going to go. We had Mia versus Man Like Darice. I also was very entertained. And you know what? Darice, I was like, you surprised me because you had your ring IQ is what got you the win here too, which was really great to see. Now, of course, it's no secret that unlike Andrew here, who is anti-fun, no, I'm just kidding. I love Darice's cheesy gimmick of him coming into the ring. But I feel that this tournament has made me a bigger fan of Darice because now he kind of put that facade to the side for a little bit and got to just be like, no, this is boisterous behavior, Man Like Darice, who's going to be wrestling you up in this ring. And he had a big challenge, both figuratively and literally. In I really like this match. I shouldn't do this, but now I got to go check out Noah to see what they all about. Because just from the small people that I've seen so far with Jack Morris, Machiki Inamura, Kaito Kiyomiya, well, damn. Oh, but that's a whole nother story. Andrew, what did you think of Darice versus Kiyomiya here?
Again, another phenomenal match. I like the fact that, Man Like Darice he's gone up against some really tough competition in his first two matches. Looks phenomenal. He felt like a warrior going through this tournament, getting the second victory. He put it on, and Kiyomiya just looked phenomenal again in this. I want to see more of him. I don't know if they've wrestled. This is the hard part about, people bouncing around all these places. I would want to see Masaki Tamiya against one called Manders, giving matches like that. There's so many things I want to see. But this match was phenomenal. It was really good. I thought they opened up the second night with just two bangers.
Right. Speaking of which, I want to see Manders in this next year. Manders would be a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie. I mean, he is out here in Germany as the WXW champion, so that's great. So it's fantastic. But let's get into this quarterfinal match. Well, actually, no, not final. Sorry. The semifinal. But still, I'm just like, this hand motion applies for this match. Charlie Sterling versus Will Cruz. Oh my God. I have never been more mad at somebody named Session Moth Martina more in my life than I was in this match. I was like, oh my God, Will Cruz is going to do it. He actually might win this thing. And then she caused the distraction. I'm like, damn it. I'm not going to lie. I like Charlie Sterling. I think he's fantastic. But this match, I was like, oh my God, I think I'm in love with Will Cruz. And now I'm like part of the fan club now. I get it. I love him. I want to see him go further. no, damn you, Session Moth Martina. How dare you? But literally, this was Big Meat slapping Big Meat match. And I was like, yes, give it to me. This was so much fun. Andrew, what did you think?
I think that might have been the biggest Spanish fly that I've ever seen off of the top rope. That was insane. This match was awesome. It was the beefiest battle that we had in the entire tournament, and it was so good. It was a great match for Will Cruz really to show off like what he could do on his own. I would have ranked this match higher if it weren't for the ending, and I will say it also makes sense for getting Will Cruz out without him losing clean, but it kind of like I was so into this match, and then that happened, I was just like, oh, this feels shit. That kind of took me out of it for a minute. I do like what the payoff was later in the evening because it felt like really good comeuppance, but the match itself was a great match, excellent match, exactly what you want in a big beefy battle.
100%. I loved it. Now let's get into the finals, quarterfinal match. Gosh darn it. I'm a US person. Metric system is still hard for me.
I just call it round 2. So.
No, because I want to be official and give this tournament the respect. But we do get into our final quarterfinal match. Again, on paper, this was immediately going to be a banger. My only critique is I wish I wanted 5 more minutes. Give it to me. But Michael Oku versus Trent F7, man. This might be a big stretch, and Andrew, you can reel me back to reality. But to me, at least, this is very new, top young generation in Michael Oku of this current British wrestling scene to top veteran in Trent Seven as well of the British wrestling scene. These are 2 men who are part of bygone eras of different generations of British wrestling. And this was beautiful to watch. I loved it so much. I just wish it was 5 more minutes. I wanted them to give me 20, 25, but what I got was fantastic. Michael Oku beats Trent Seven and moves on to be facing Leon Slater. And I'm not gonna lie, I may or may not have passed out when that realization happened. I'm like, oh my God. But Andrew, what did you think of Michael Oku versus Trent Seven?
This was another phenomenal match. I mean, I think given the finish of the last match aside, I would have ranked all of these matches pretty much the same. They were all A matches for me. This match was so good. Trent Seven, he always looks good and always makes his opponents look good. It was good too because you had to see Michael Oku overcome not only the wear and tear that he got from this first match, but go against someone who knows how to, use that. We got to see Michael Oku use, he didn't have as much experience as Trent Seven. He's got a lot more knowledge on Trent Seven than Trent Seven might have on him. And so we got to see kind of those 2 things play out. And I enjoyed the finish. I didn't mind the length of the match. And I like how he went for the finish, how, he went for the half crab. Trent Seven tried to fight his way out of it and ended up getting himself into a reversal, which led to the STO, which he got put to sleep with it. And, I'll talk about people going out from submissions in the next match. I feel kind of a certain way about that. But for this match, it was phenomenal. It was really good. I liked it. I thought it was a great way. It was a really good victory for Michael Oku to pick up in this round of the tournament.
Absolutely. So we reached the end of the quarterfinals. So in the quarterfinals, moving in the semifinals, we would be seeing Man Like DeReese versus Charlie Sterling on the left side of the bracket. And then the semifinals, which again, I was frothing at the mouth, Leon Slater versus Michael Oku on the right. I'm like, can they both win? But so we move on because we have a little bit of a break in between the tournament action because we have a Progress Men's Championship match. Luke Jacobs versus Cara Noir. This is not the first time that these 2 have tangled up against each other. I don't care. Cara Noir is my exotico, as we call in Lucha Libre. He is such the weirdo, but he is my weirdo, and I will defend this man with every being. I also checked out his feud with that was a banging feud, and the storytelling was really good. So I like this match. I thought it was a lot of fun. I wasn't mad at the ending. I was just a little bit surprised. Because Cara Noir locks into submission. Luke Jacob with the last of consciousness that he has, kind of I don't know what the correct term for it is. He bridges himself enough to get Cara's shoulders pinned, and technically Luke Jacob wins because he pins Cara Noir, but Cara made this man pass out while the ref was counting, and he was still in that position. I had some time to sit with it. I'm not mad, but I was like, that was a little bit anticlimactic. Does this mean we get a rematch? Because if that's the case, then I'll be like, all right, I'm down for it. But Andrew, I could see the look on your face. You're like, you know what? Listen, me and you, we've known each other for a year and a half now, and I trust your judgment. So I want to hear your thoughts because your thoughts are important to me. How did you feel about the match? And then what are your thoughts about this ending we got?
First of all, I love this match. This was my match of the night. The main event was really close. Oh, not the main event. Yeah, the main event. I was really close to this. Just like, we were talking about half points of difference between these things. Not even that. A tenth of a point difference between the matches. But this match I thought was excellent. It was so good. Both of these. This was a main event for any card that you want to put it on. It was a phenomenal match. The ending, I'm not mad. I think
I'm with you on that one.
If the referee would have checked him while he was counting 3, Jacobs was out. So he should have been out. I also it makes me think of, and I know this is not quite the same because there's not a time limit or anything like that, but in MMA, professional fighting, and things like that, get your opponent in a submission, the bell rings, and you get up, and the referee realizes that they're unconscious, you usually win. They're like, oh, you put them to sleep. They're done. So the match is over. I think the fact that Luke Jacobs was out during the pin, I think the submission should have taken over, or at least there should have been some more. I wanted if they're still going to give the win to Jacobs, I want there to be more from this. I want there to be a reason for us to have another match, to be some question about this, this victory, because I feel like, it just wasn't, he didn't get the victory in this. And so, I think we need justice for the Black Swan. I think we need to run this back and give him another shot, because I think he should be holding that title right now.
No, I honestly think this is going to lead to a rematch. I'm trying to figure out where, because... So here's the thing, at least from my understanding, Vendetta has become a very big show for Progress. But that's in November, and I don't see this going that far. I will say, however, I would not be surprised if we see this rematch happen at Not Out, which marks the 100th show in the Electric Ballroom. So I can see that match happening at the August show. But yeah, I'm here with you. I'm on the Cara Noir agenda. Give this man the championship back. Though I do love Luke Jacobs. I think he brings something very fun as kind of this somewhat heel-ish champion, which, but still he's just like, I'm better than you. And I'm like, you know what? I believe you. But justice for Cara Noir, rigged. I'm just kidding. No, but I really like this match, and I do hope we get a rematch down the line, because I think I can see a round 2 with this. And then, Cara Noir winning championship would make, 2025 for me even more amazing. But after this match, we get back into all of the goodness that is, our tournament of Super Strong Style 16, because now we are in the semifinals. So we're going to talk about our first semifinal match, which was man like Darice versus Charlie Sterling. Again, Darice, that wrestling IQ comes in handy with you, because I was not sure how you were going to get out of this one either. But hey, Darice picks up the win, takes out Charlie Sterling. And Charlie, you impressed me in these 3 rounds that we saw you in. I was like, I look forward to seeing you as a single star. Andrew, first semifinal match, what'd you think of Darice versus Sterling?
It was a good match. Obviously, Darice was taken. He was getting every round. He just got more and more beat up as he went through. And so it was really this war of attrition for a man like Darice to get through each round. I thought this was another good hill for him to climb. You talk about he's going against Ethan Allen, Masaka Tamiya, and then Charlie Sterling. That was a pretty loaded deck against him trying to get to the finals. So, him coming out of this one victorious, I thought it was good. I questioned me sending him into the finals, how that was going to all work out for him. But ultimately, I was happy with the outcome.
Yeah. So I was happy. I really enjoyed this match. But now we must talk about the other semifinal match, because Leon Slater versus Michael Oku. I need a round 2. Give me a round 2 between these two. I honestly did not know who was going to walk out as the winner for this one. because I'm like, I want Leon, but I'm rooting for Michael, but I'm rooting for Leon. Don't do this to me, Progress. Can they both win? Can we make it a triple threat? I know it's unheard of, but can we? Of course not. Leon Slater wins, but by the skin of his teeth, he beats Michael Oku and moves on to the finals. Andrew, Leon, Michael, on paper, a dream match. What did you think?
This was another the main event and the men's world title match were my top 3 matches of the night. All of them were within, I mean, you're talking about like 9.5, 9.6, 9.8 matches. Like that's like how close that they all were for me. It was so good. And again, this was, like seeing Leon Slater against Zozai, Michael Oku against Kid Lycos. Like you're seeing these just crazy high flyer, high speed, high impact wrestlers go against each other. It's crazy that Michael Oku is 12 years older than Leon Slater.
Right. I'm just like,
I would not guess that, but yeah, this match was awesome. I want to see this match when they haven't had to have 2 crazy matches within the last 2 days, like within 24 hours. So,
like full on rest, like starting from 100 and just go all gas, no breaks.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Man. But after the semifinals settle, we do have our final later in the night or day. It's going to be both members of Boisterous Behavior going up against each other. Man like Derice versus Leon Slater. But more on that in a little bit, because first, okay, so we get a little bit of some promos here from Nina and from Kanji going back and forth. I'm happy to see Kanji back, but she has some unresolved stuff to deal with Nina here. And Nina, of course, accepts this, but at some point, these two will be in a career versus career match. I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy because I like both of them. I don't know who we're going to select to leave Progress. I was like, damn it, Nina, you've gotten me back on the bandwagon. And now there's a slight possibility that this might be the last time we get to see you. Talk about some stakes though, Andrew. I'm like, oh my God, somebody's about to leave. And like, I think I'll cry either way, which is the crazy part. I was like, no.
I really enjoyed this. I also thought this was a really good carryover for Nina from that championship match to this. Like, there was just a difference about the way that she carried herself in this promo, especially when she was out there first. Like, too, but the fact that she was out there as a heel, that she feels like she deserves to be cheered by the fans, but is not like whining about not being cheered by them. It's more she's like angry because she's just as genuinely like, I am the best. Like, why would you not cheer for me? Like, I'm Progress Women's Wrestling. Like, what are you doing? And I just love that energy that she brought into this. I thought this was a great build-up for the return of Kanji. I'm excited to see where we're going to go when this match is going to happen because, is this going to be something like Kanji's only back for a short amount of time? And so we're going to see her, end her career that way. Is Nina going to be leaving so that we're going to see her leave that way? How's it all going to play out? And also where does this fit in with Rio and her current title run? So there's just so many things that could happen, and I'm super excited for it. And I thought this was just another great way to continue the energy and get these two back out for night 2.
I'm excited for whenever we're getting this career versus career match. So again, I would not be surprised if this ends up not out at the 100th show for Electric Ballroom. So cannot wait for that. But after this, though, before we get into the finals of the Super Strong Style 16, we get a little bit of a palate cleanser because we get this really fun battle royale with all of the first round eliminated participants. This was just pure chaos and fun. Marcus Mathers, I love you, especially when you do the backup into Simon Miller, like feeling his bald head. That was hilarious for me. But also the multiple dick grabs, dick kicks, dick punches, just Dick Van Dyking it all over the place is what I'm calling it. Like Gene Money just doing everything and anything to everybody's like family jewel region was hilarious to This was just chaos, and I loved it. And Simon Miller wins. Yay! Good for Simon. But he made his intentions clear, though, at the end of this match, Andrew, because he gets on this mic and he says, he has some words. I was like, oh my God, Simon Miller kind of being serious? This is kind of crazy. I'm here for it. He wants that Proteus championship back. So now, Paul Walter Hauser, you better be ready because you got the cheeky bastard, Charles Crowley, and the internet darling, Simon Miller, both coming for you. Let's make this a triple threat, please. Please do it. Let it happen. Just yes.
I will say I wasn't surprised because by this point in catching up with the tournament, Unfortunately, I had some spoilers. Still there were a few things that I knew that had happened by this point. I didn't look at the report card, but when you're scrolling and trying to avoid certain things, you just can't avoid them randomly popping up on your feed. But it was still super fun. I really enjoyed it. The antics were really fun and really good. It kept a lot of the comedy in there, but there was also some really fun spots. I thought it was just the right length. Eliminations were good. They weren't overly milked. Yeah, the Dick Kick City going around, Gene Money running the speed bag on Simon Miller. Just all that kind of stuff was super fun. The different interactions that we got to see from a lot of people who we didn't get to see throughout the tournament interact with each other was really fun. Will Cruz coming in and getting some revenge on Gene Money and eliminating him was awesome. Marcus Mathers just having a grand old time in there was really entertaining as well. And then that promo at the end, I would tell you that promo elevated this match up a whole point for me. It was so good. It was because again, every time I see Simon Miller wrestle, this is the same feeling I have. He is a wrestling fan who got to be a wrestling media coverage, got to really be involved in commentary on wrestling and do all that kind of stuff, and became a professional wrestler. He's a legit professional wrestler, and he has a passion that every fan has. The things that he said were great and makes you want to cheer for him. And I'm super excited. I don't care if we get to see one go after Paul Walter Hauser than the other one. I don't know how it's going to be balanced out. There could be some rivalry headed there between Charles Crowley and Simon Miller because they both want that title. But I love that they're building up these other titles to, have some stories with them. And it makes me invested in seeing where those are going to go. And like Simon Miller, Paul Walter Hauser is another person who is a fan that is genuinely dedicated to doing it properly. So I'm super pumped for what's going to come from this.
Well, the funny thing is, again, bringing up the idea of cross-pollination between wrestling promotions again, too, Paul Walter Hauser will have his first Proteus Championship title defense next week at Fatal Fantasy for Defy Wrestling. How do I know this? Because I made the slides. No, I'm not going to lie. Fatal Fantasy has me super excited, especially seeing who Minoru's opponent's going to be. I'm like, oh my God, yes, give it to me right now. But that's for a whole nother thing. But yeah, Paul Walter Hauser will be defending that Proteus Championship at Fatal Fantasy next week. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. So this was a fun one. Charles Crowley and Simon Miller coming from the Proteus Championship. We love it. But Andrew, I just want to let this image speak for itself. I'm biased. Andrew can disagree with me, and I'm okay with it because this was my favorite match, and this ended up on my match of the year contenders for me. I'm like, yes, we have the Super Strong Style 16 2025 finals. Man like Drew versus the youngest in charge, Leon Slater. These boys went off. I don't have any notes because I was just like, I stopped taking notes when the bell rang because I was just so enthralled. These boys brought and burnt the house down. They this was so damn good, Andrew. And that, of course, I love Leon. I love Man Like Doris, but according to him, it was coming home with him because Man Like Doris is your winner and is the 2025 Strong Style Super 16 tournament winner. This was a phenomenal match. Andrew, what did you think of our finals?
It was excellent. This is the kind of match that, it was funny because I know Leon Slater's been wrestling a lot with them over in TNA with the Hardys. One of the first things I thought of, part of the way through the match was, this was like watching Matt and Jeff wrestle each other. This is the camaraderie that you could feel, both the familiarity that they had with each other as well as the I don't want to do what I have to do in order to win this match, but I respect you and want this so much that I'm going to give you everything I have and you better do the same. And they did. They put it out there. It was so good. It was such a phenomenal way to end the night. The damage that Doris had taken throughout the tournament, the way that they went back and forth. This was, again, something that got spoiled for me. So I was never like, oh, maybe Doris isn't going to win this one. But it was so good that there were times that it took me out of it, not thinking about the fact that I knew that he won, that I was genuinely like excited for those close falls. But yeah, I mean, there was just some phenomenal wrestling. And honestly, and I don't know that I would have said this before watching this tournament, but I want to see a man like Darius as the Progress World Champion. Like, I want him with that title. Let me see him against Luke Jacobs. Let him dethrone Luke Jacobs. I wouldn't even mind if he gets to dethrone Luke Jacobs and the rematch between Cara Noir and Luke Jacobs isn't for the title. Like, I want to see Darius hold that title and him have a run as that's this impressed me that much. Like, I'm super pumped for it. Still not a huge fan of the entrance, but that aside, him as a wrestler, and I give it to him. Give me more. I want to see more. Man like Darius, give him a title. He earned it. As the kids say, he deserves it.
Yes, I'm slowly infecting the BC Wrestle Pod boys with my verbiage. No, just kidding. No, but I really love this match, and I am going to have to go back and rewatch this when I have to narrow down my favorite match of 2025. But again, Progress Wrestling, this was our first Super Strong Style 16, and this was such a fun way to end the tournament in all of this. So, Andrew, we've made it through Super Strong Style 16. You know, I did the report cards for this. I gave day 1 a B+, A- to day 2. But this was a very, no pun intended, a super strong showing for Progress in this one. I had such a blast with this. And normally, you know, I love me a good tournament in wrestling, regardless of what fed it's at. But this was true, proper tournament with like 16 participants, single eliminations. We also had championship matches thrown in here, as well as a really fun battle royale. Progress just continues to make me happy as a wrestling fan. And I know that's not a very good measure of, you know, in terms of reviewing it, but it makes it, in the words of Simon Miller, it makes me feel good in my tum-tum. Like, that is how I am. But Andrew, what are your final thoughts about our first Super Strong Style 16 tournament?
Phenomenal. You know, I mean, across the board, almost every single match was an A for me. I actually gave both nights A-minuses. They were just so good. If you haven't seen Super Strong Style 16, watch this one. It was great. You know, whether you watch a couple of the matches, you watch it all the way from start to end. Really fun, really good. It will definitely make you a fan of Progress Wrestling. Because of the Electric Ballroom, it lives up to its name. The energy there is just phenomenal. You know, it was such a good night of matches, and it's got me really excited for the next chapter for Progress.
I cannot wait for chapter 181, which is I'm super excited for. Now, speaking of which, our next Progress review will not be until, well, it won't be until a little bit into July, end of June, because chapter 181 is Far From Ordinary People, which isn't happening until June. But hey, I'm excited. This was the May show and, you know, the June show. But we did get some announcements, though, because at Far From Ordinary People, we will see I could say this right. Sunshine Machine will be defending their Progress Tag Team Championships at that event. So I'm excited to see who ends up challenging, you know, our boys from Sunshine Machine for those titles. But then even summer's just stacked for Progress, too, because then we get to Stay Humble in July, in which we have, you know, we are getting our match now between Axel Tischel and Mike Von Dijk, but it is a tables match. I was like, listen, these are two big boys. They're about to destroy each other, and I cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. But that's going to be it for us here at the Progressive Reviews. Before we sign off for the evening, to kind of wrap up and to preview what BC WrestlePod has going on for the remainder of the week, we got one final thing happening this week, this Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. Myself, Adolfo, and possibly Will be doing a live watch-along for CMLL versus MLW in Azlucha. So we will be seeing the luchadors of CMLL taking on the stars of MLW, and I am happy to see and report that CMLL is pretty much the only thing on this card, minus our MLW World Heavyweight Championship match between Matthew Riddle and Donovan Dijak. Yes, it is 2025. I said those two names together in a championship match. What a world we live in. But listen, I'm not going to lie. I like Matt Riddle. He hotboxed Eric Bischoff's office, and it was funny to watch with him and Filthy Tom Lawler. Also, their T-shirt of the Sistine Chapel is ridiculous, and I may or may not have bought one. I can neither confirm nor deny. But Andrew, thank you so much for being here with me to cover Super Strong Style 16. I look forward to. Listen, summer's already gonna be packed. Like I was complaining to you, I was like, we don't really get to work to that often, but we're gonna get sick of each other over the summer because not only do we have progress, but we also got what I am calling, and there will be a T-shirt available, the GCW Brat Summer Tour, where we have a whole entire GCW slate of shows during the summer too. And I'm excited because we are about to baptize Adolfo in the most brutal way possible with his first. Well, I mean, he got to see the 2 GCW shows, but this is their big outing. I'm so excited. But that's going to be it for us. We will be back at the end of June, beginning of July for Far From Ordinary People, I think. Hold up. I want to double check because I don't want to be talking out of my booty cheeks for this one because I want to be right because Progress is doing right by us and I want to do right by Progress because they noticed us, senpai, but love them. No, okay. So the next time we love them forever. Okay, so yeah, I was right. So the next time we will be back to review Progress will be the end of June. So we will be reviewing Far From Ordinary People, in July. And we actually don't have to wait that long because later in the month we'll be reviewing Stay Humble too. So we got 2 Progress shows slated for July. In the meantime, if you're looking for international reviews to be looking at, we got a plethora of them coming up next week. Monday, Adolfo and I will be reviewing New Japan's second U.S. show this year, which is Resurgence, which your boys secured the tickets and we'll be going to see that show tomorrow. I'm excited to see Zack Sabre Jr. live, which is crazy. I never thought I'd get to see Zack wrestle in the States like this. I mean, now GCW is also on my bucket list as a show that I need to go see too, because I get to see all my favorite folks. I'm really excited though for this triple threat between Mercedes, Azumi, and Mina Shirakawa for that New Japan Strong Women's Championship. This is going to be a fun one. But on top of that, we got Azteca Lucha this Saturday, Resurgence review on Monday, Thursday. If I can convince Andrew, not really though. Me and Will and possibly Andrew will be revealing Canadian wrestling. Yo, that Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling card is stacked, Andrew. I'm not even going to lie. It's going to be fantastic. So all I'm saying is go check out some of these international brands too, because they are offering some really fun stuff along with the US ones. But if you're just US based, that is okay too. Because you'll also see a lot of crossover between the major feds and the international brands because they got working relationships with each other. But we're going to get up on out of here because it is late, kind of. But some of us, me and Andrew got to prepare for work tomorrow. But thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Progressive Review. We will be back Thursday, July 3rd to review Far From Ordinary People, Chapter 181. But until then, from us two and the rest of the BC Wrestle Pod family, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. We will catch you Saturday for Azteca Lucha and the watch along. But until then, sayonara.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's going to happen next time? Well, you're going to have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.